There's one move, just one, that flips her entire emotional script. It makes her rethink, replay every moment, spiral into confusion, and second-guess everything. But here's the kicker. It's not chasing, it's not sweet talking, it's not even explaining your side. It's silence. Total, absolute silence. No contact, not just ignoring her, but mastering a psychological shift so powerful it forces her to question her grip on you. 1. The power of silence. Why no contact drives her crazy. There's one move that flips everything, going completely silent. Not because you're playing games, but because silence is often louder than words. Most guys panic when a woman pulls away. They start chasing, texting, trying to explain themselves. But here's the twist. The moment you stop reacting and go quiet, she starts noticing. Hard. You see, women are used to men folding under pressure. She expects you to reach out, double text, maybe even beg. But when you stop talking completely, you mess with her expectations. It's like removing the air from a room. She suddenly can't breathe right. Your silence becomes this loud question in her mind. Why isn't he reacting? That question starts spinning in her head. She starts overthinking, wondering if she messed up, if you met someone new, or if maybe she wasn't as important as she thought. But no contact isn't about ignoring her to hurt her. It's about taking your power back. It's a reset. It shows her you're not some guy who's going to be available on demand. It proves you're a man with self-control and emotional discipline. And here's the truth. That kind of discipline is rare and incredibly attractive. So when you choose silence instead of chasing, you're not just pulling away from her. You're stepping into a stronger version of yourself. And that's what makes her rethink everything. She'll either come back full of curiosity and respect, or she'll walk away, silently regretting it. Either way, you win. 2. Emotional reset, reclaiming your power. Through distance, when a woman starts pulling away, most men instinctively try to do more. They think that calling more often, explaining their feelings, or constantly checking in will bring her closer. But in reality, all that effort only pushes her further. She starts seeing you as desperate, emotionally needy, and way too easy to control. That's where the emotional reset comes in. No contact isn't just a break from communication. It's a powerful shift in your mindset. Instead of chasing her, you're choosing to focus on yourself. You're no longer trying to prove your worth through messages or emotional pleas. You're reclaiming your energy, your masculinity, and your mental clarity. Think of it like hitting the pause button on all that emotional noise. The silence creates space, not just for her to miss you, but for you to remember who you are. When you stop reacting to her mood swings or mixed signals, you gain back your emotional power. You stop leaking confidence. You stop giving her control over how you feel. This reset also forces her to take a long, hard look at her own behavior. She might start wondering why you pulled back, questioning her own choices. That internal shift is huge. And while she's spinning, you're growing stronger, more focused, and more centered. No contact is more than just ignoring her. It's a declaration that you won't beg, chase, or explain yourself anymore. You're not angry, you're not bitter, you're just done with the emotional chaos. And that kind of calm power demands respect. 3. The emotional mirror. One of the most underrated aspects of going no contact is how it acts like a mirror. When you pull back, you don't just disappear, you reflect her actions right back at her. If she was distant, distracted, or disrespectful, your silence forces her to confront what it feels like when that same energy is given back to her. Let's be real, most people don't realize what they've lost until they feel that space. When you were always texting, calling, checking in, you gave her the comfort of knowing she still had access to you. But when that energy is gone, That's when the emotional mirror shows her the truth. You were present, and she took it for granted. And this mirror doesn't lie. It doesn't yell, argue, or explain. It just exists. In silence. And that silence, it's loud. It gives her the room to think, to reflect, and to feel what it's like without you. Sometimes that reflection wakes her up. She starts remembering the little things, the comfort of your voice, the way you made her laugh, how safe she felt. Suddenly, the version of you she pushed away becomes more valuable. And all of this happens without you lifting a finger. Remember, the mirror only works if you truly step back. No emotional outbursts, no trying to prove your point. Just stillness. And in that stillness, she either realizes your worth, or you realize she never saw it to begin with. Either way, the mirror gives you clarity. 4. Her curiosity becomes obsession. Now this is where it gets interesting. When you go no contact, something subtle but powerful happens. Her curiosity turns into obsession. At first, she's just wondering why you haven't reached out. Then she starts checking her phone more often. She might stalk your social media or ask mutual friends about you. Before she knows it, she's thinking about you constantly. Why? Because silence creates questions, and the mind hates unanswered questions. When someone who used to be part of her daily life suddenly disappears, the brain panics a little. It tries to solve the mystery. Is he moving on? Did he meet someone else? Why isn't he chasing me like every other guy? These questions create an emotional loop. The more she thinks, the more she wants answers. And the more she wants answers, the more she thinks about you. It becomes a cycle, one that keeps her emotionally engaged even in your absence. But here's the key. This only works if your silence is paired with real self-control. You can't go half in. If you watch her stories, like her posts, or reply to her breadcrumbs, you're giving her just enough attention to ease her curiosity, and that ruins the effect. To make her wonder, you have to be truly gone, not in a spiteful way, but in a calm, collected, high-value way. You're not ghosting, you're growing. You're giving her space and focusing on yourself. And that mystery, that absence, it speaks louder than anything you could say. Because now, she's not just missing you, she's chasing the version of you she can't fully figure out. 5. You shift the power dynamic. In every relationship, there's a balance of power. When someone knows they have your full attention, no matter what they do, they begin to feel in control. And when that happens, the scales tip, and attraction often fades. No contact is how you gently but powerfully shift that dynamic back in your favor. See, when she pulls away and you do nothing, that's strength. It's emotional discipline. And that's rare. Most guys panic. They blow up her phone, beg for closure, try to talk it out. And in doing so, they hand over all their power. But when you calmly go silent, you show her something she didn't expect. You're not afraid to walk away. You're not waiting around like a lost puppy. You're not desperate for her validation. And that flips the script. Suddenly, she's no longer in control. She doesn't know where you stand. She wonders if you've moved on, if you even care. And that uncertainty puts the emotional weight back in her hands. This doesn't mean you're playing games. It means you're creating balance. A relationship should be a dance, not a chase. And silence allows you to stop chasing. It resets the rhythm. It forces her to come forward if she truly wants to. And if she doesn't, then you walk away with dignity. Power isn't about dominance. It's about control over your own emotions. And when she sees that you're no longer reacting to her, she starts to question everything, including how she lets someone like you slip away. 6. The value shift. No contact isn't just about creating space. It's about changing how value is perceived in the relationship. When a woman pulls away, most guys instinctively try harder, more calls, more texts, more trying to prove their worth. But this only lowers their value in her eyes. The harder you chase, the more she assumes you're disposable, replaceable, and desperate for attention. But when you go silent, that's when the shift happens. You stop giving her easy access to your time and energy. You make it clear, without saying a word, that you don't offer your presence to someone who doesn't respect it. Suddenly, you're not just the guy who's always around. You become the man she has to earn back. And that subtle shift changes everything. This doesn't mean you act cold or arrogant. It means you recognize your own worth. You understand that your time, peace, and emotional energy are not cheap. That's when she starts seeing you differently, not as someone trying to prove themselves, but as someone who already has value with or without her. Women are wired to chase value. When you confidently step back and focus on yourself, you flip the entire dynamic. Instead of you convincing her to stay, she has to evaluate whether she measures up to be in your life. And even if she doesn't come back, the kind of woman who truly sees your worth will. That's the power of the value shift. 7. Psychological scarcity. Here's a truth most men don't realize. What's rare is respected. What's always available becomes routine, and routine kills attraction. No contact leverages something called psychological scarcity. When you disappear from her life, you become rare again. And in today's world, where constant access is normal, that rarity hits hard. We live in a digital age of non-stop messaging, constant notifications, and 24/7 updates. So when you suddenly go silent, it's not just unusual, it's disruptive. She's left wondering why you've vanished. Her brain doesn't like the mystery, so it starts filling in the gaps, and in doing so, she starts to emotionally reinvest. This isn't manipulation, it's about restoring balance. You're not punishing her with silence. You're reintroducing value by removing your constant presence. She can't miss you if you never go away, and she won't appreciate your energy if you give it too freely. The key here is discipline. Many guys start no contact but crack under pressure. They post too much online to get a reaction. They send just checking in messages, or they respond when she throws out a breadcrumb. That ruins everything. True psychological scarcity only works when it's consistent and intentional. So what should you do instead? Focus on you. Build your mind, body, goals, and relationships with others. The less you need her, the more magnetic you become. And when she realizes you're not waiting around, you'll become the man she remembers. Not because you chased her, but because you vanished with confidence. 8. Break the pattern. If there's one reason no contact works like a charm, it's this. It completely breaks the pattern she's used to. In most relationships, especially when women lose interest, the guy becomes predictable. He tries harder. He over-communicates. He tries to fix what went wrong. She expects it, and worse, she depends on it to validate her own control over the situation. But when you go no contact, the script flips. Suddenly, she's not sure what comes next. Her expectations are shattered. The cycle of pulling away and being chased ends because you're no longer participating. This pattern break creates emotional disruption. She starts wondering, why isn't he reaching out? Did he stop caring? Is he over me? And in that mental spiral, something important happens. She starts thinking about you again. Not out of obligation, but out of curiosity, confusion, even regret. Breaking the pattern doesn't mean punishing her or cutting her off forever. It means stepping away from the same behaviors that kept you stuck in emotional limbo. You stop reacting to her distance, and you stop rewarding her indifference with your attention. This isn't just powerful, it's essential. The longer you stay in the same cycle, the harder it becomes to rebuild attraction. But when you break the pattern, you give her a new emotional experience. One where you're not chasing, not convincing, and not desperate. And that's often the spark that reignites interest. 9. Unpredictability equals power. Consistency is good for values, discipline, and character. But in dating, especially when attraction fades, unpredictability is magnetic. One of the most underestimated benefits of no contact is that it introduces unpredictability into her emotional experience. She no longer knows when you'll call, what you're thinking, or how you feel. And that uncertainty isn't just confusing, it's addictive. Her brain craves resolution, but you're not offering any. This keeps her emotionally engaged, whether she realizes it or not. Most men are too predictable. She pulls away, and they come running. She texts, and they reply in seconds. She acts distant, and they overcompensate. It's a one-way street, and it becomes boring. But when you go silent, when you resist the urge to play her emotional games, you create a kind of tension she didn't expect. That tension is where attraction is reborn. Not because you're playing hard to get, but because you've become something she can't fully figure out. And people chase what they don't fully understand. Unpredictability is not about being emotionally unstable. It's about being self-contained. You don't need her response to feel good. You don't need her texts to know your worth. And when she starts to sense that, she begins to value your presence more. The key is to combine this unpredictability with calm strength. You're not ghosting out of spite. You're stepping away with poise. And that kind of balance, firm yet mysterious, is something most men never master. 10. Let her choose. The final and perhaps most important part of no contact is this. Let her make the choice. The silent period isn't just about making her miss you. It's about giving her space to decide freely and honestly if she wants to come back. When you chase, plead, or beg, she doesn't have to choose anything. She knows you're there, waiting, always available. There's no pressure, no urgency, but when you go silent, the decision becomes hers alone. This creates clarity for both of you. She's no longer reacting to your pursuit. She's reflecting on her own feelings, her own behavior, and what she truly wants. And more importantly, you're not clouding her mind with emotional noise. You've stepped back, and now she has to either step forward or let it end. Letting her choose doesn't mean you're powerless. It means you respect yourself enough not to force the connection. It's a quiet way of saying, if you want this, come correct. I'm not chasing anymore. And yes, it might mean she doesn't come back. But that's a win too, because now you know where she truly stood. No more false hope, no more emotional limbo, just the truth, delivered through her silence or her action. This is emotional leadership. You're not manipulating, you're leading with calm distance, trusting that what's real will return, and what's fake will fade. No contact isn't a trick, it's not a quick fix. It's a mindset shift, one that requires emotional strength, clarity, and commitment. If you hold the silence, control your emotions, and embrace the mystery, you'll not only change the way she sees you, but more importantly, you'll change how you see yourself.